All right. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining tonight. We're going to start in about a minute, or we'll just give everybody a little bit to jump on. We, I can see everybody joining already, so that's great. While you're all jumping on, if you want to go ahead and get started in the chat, first of all, there's a drop down menu if it says that you're um, chatting with hosts and panelists only. Go ahead and drop that down to chat with everyone if you want to, or you can just chat with us. No big deal, but it's nice to see where everybody is coming from. So if you want to share that while you are joining, I can see there's quite a few that have jumped on. All right, we have someone from the Bronx. Very cool. And if you also want to share, maybe this is your first class. I saw a lot of new signups this time around, wanting to jump in and learn all about lavender. So let us know if this is your first Acacia class, or if it hasn't been your first, you can let us know too, and maybe let us tell us what your favorite class that you have been to before, because we like to see what is your favorite kind of topics. I know lavender, it seems like, is a more fun topic for people, so we got a lot of signups this time around. All right, we have someone from Highlands Ranch, Colorado and California. All right, and we have a newbie to Orcacia classes, Bristow, Oklahoma. Thank you all for joining. So it's great to see everybody sharing where you're from and sharing if you are brand new to Orcacia classes. By the way, I do free monthly classes every month. So we have different topics, seasonally appropriate ones, or maybe a deep dive on a certain essential oil like we're doing tonight. So definitely keep keep watch for your newsfeed or however you signed up in the Orcacia newsletter. All right, now we're seeing quite a few more joining. So we have Illinois, we have Florida. Oh, we have a regular from Florida. It's great to see you again. Thank you so much for regularly attending. I love to see that. And then we also have Tucson. And wow, you grow lavender and you were raised. Oh, that's very cool. I love to hear that. So please share your lavender stories tonight. So, of course, this class is all about lavender. We're doing a deep dive on all things lavender. We're going to learn about the different species of lavender and a little bit more about each one, the constituents, and what they're good for, so you know exactly which lavender to pick and what to look out for as well. So, yeah, please keep sharing in the chat. We love to see. By the way, I haven't introduced myself yet. I'm Elena Mercurio. I am the aromatherapist and educator with Oracacia. I've been the educator with Oracacia for the past 9 years now, so it's pretty amazing how that has flown by. But I love to do this and speak with you all. It's one of my favorite things about my job. So, and we have a special guest tonight in the chat that is helping out tonight with me. We actually have the director of marketing for Oracacia, Summer. She will be helping out in the chat to be able to help answer questions or guide them to me. But this is your opportunity to say anything you love about Oracacia or anything you're maybe looking for. So we love to see, if you like products, or maybe it's a product you've seen from another company and you really love that, and we would love to see that with Oracacia. You can go ahead and share that in the chat as well. Or just any of your essential oil questions, not just lavender. I'm here to answer all of those. So let's get started. Before, I wanted to talk about all things lavender. You can see that I'm wearing my lavender colored shirt tonight, so I am ready to go with all things purple. But this is the Positive Change shirt from Oracacia. that we actually had this year made because we are super excited about our Positive Change Project. If you haven't heard about that already, every purchase of Oracacia goes to funding grants for women's organizations across the US and Canada. So not only you're getting a beautiful essential oil product, you are also doing so much good with it. So you are helping women move their lives forward and transform their lives. We were actually named Partner of the Year with one of our organizations that we were working with. So it's Calvary Women's Center in Washington, D.C. They actually help women experiencing homelessness, and they get them housing and education and all sorts of wonderful services. And so you're doing so much good in helping women transform their lives, whether they're experiencing homelessness or recent incarceration, all sorts of issues to help move um, these beautiful organizations that we are working with that get grants from the Positive Change Project, actually helping thousands of women. So wanted to share that with you because you are all lovers of Orcacia, that you're doing so much good when you're purchasing from Orcacia as well. So I wanted to share that. But let's get into all things lavender. So I have a question for all of you. How many species of lavender exists out in the world, out on the marketplace? Does anybody know? Because it's not just one. We always think lavender, it's just lavender, right? 5 is a good answer. That's actually a little higher. Anybody want to take another guess? 35. We're getting closer, actually. 20, that's a good answer too. So it's actually, well, we'll give maybe another few seconds just in case someone's typing. 50. Well, it's actually probably close to 45 currently. So it's over 40 species of lavender are currently out on the market. That's a lot of different lavender species. And the different plant species actually can do a lot of different things. So lavender, you think about lavender being that calming, soothing lavender, but there's different varieties and species that do probably the opposite, and we'll talk about that tonight. So another question is, how many species of lavender does Oracacia sell? I think one of the answers might have been the answer already. 3, good job. That is great. A plus, A plus to you. Perfect. All right, we have some A plus Oracacia students tonight. So we sell lavandula angustifolia. This is the true lavender. That's the known one that everybody thinks of when you think of lavender. And then we sell lavandin, which is a hybrid lavender between spike lavender and the true lavender. So spike lavender is the third one that we actually sell. Whoop. So we sell, see that, let's get that focused. Here we go, spike lavender. And then we have our lavender. And then lavandin is the hybrid between the two. We also sell French lavender, which is the species of true lavender, Lavandula angustifolia. Let's put that on the side of the bottle. So that's one thing that's really important to look for, is the botanical name when you're looking for which lavender you want to work with. So let's get into kind of the different constituents and what is the difference between those lavenders. So let's start with our true lavender. It's also known as Vera, Lavandula vera. That is the true lavender. But the most common botanical name is Lavandula angustifolia. And when you're looking for that true lavender, you really want to look for that botanical name. That's really important. Sometimes we see different botanical names under the lavender name. And that is a little bit of a red flag when we're looking at other companies maybe and what they're selling. It's good to look out for the different species name. And I know it takes a little bit of kind of learning when it comes to learning about the botanicals, but adulteration is very common, especially when it comes to lavender. So you really want to know what you're getting when you're looking for lavender specifically. A lot of times we're seeing a hybrid plant or a different plant species that has those different plant constituents and chemicals that act very differently. What you get with lavender and that lavandula angustifolia is actually high in linalool and linalool acetate. So these are the two chemicals that make it, first of all, smell like this beautiful, sweet floral aroma that we know lavender. And it just really, once you smell it, it just calms you right away and it just relaxes you and it just gets you in a really different state, a more meditative, calm state. There are studies that actually have been done on people that have been in a room smelling lavender and they're hooked up to brain waves. And whether they believe that lavender does anything or not, their brain waves actually changed into a more meditative, calm state. So there is science behind it, which is pretty cool. So that is the what people really look for when they come to, a lot of times people are coming to the essential oil space looking for that calming relief. And so lavender is really just the king of calming. So there we go. I got to work on my focus. So lavender that we sell is comes from Bulgaria. So Bulgarian lavender really has that beautiful, sweet aroma, and it's considered one of the highest quality lavenders in the world. People have known aromatherapy and especially lavender to France, which we do sell the French lavender as well. It's the same botanical, but grown in a different region. And this actually produces very different aromas and a little bit different plant constituents. The French lavender has a little bit more of a sharp aroma because it's actually a little bit higher in linalool than the linalool acetate. I know they sound kind of similar, but it just, those two chemicals at a little bit different ratio makes for a little bit different aroma. And people really like this, French lavender because it has that little more intensity. And so if you're looking for a more intense aroma, but still for those calming, soothing properties, you're going to look for the French lavender. But the Bulgarian lavender, I absolutely love because it has just a little bit of a softer, sweeter aroma. And it's really just kind of what I think of when I think of lavender. And the reason it's grown in Bulgaria is because it needs a little bit of a hill or a mountain. So if anybody or that whoever said that they grow lavender themselves, maybe they've noticed that it grows better in a hilly climate and a little bit cooler climate as well. And so that is the best for the true lavender production. And you get the highest quality aroma plant constituents in that lavandula. All right. And the cool thing about the lavender too is it's just this tiny little bush. So it only grows about 20 to 30 inches tall. It is harvested right after the summer solstice. So lavender in Bulgaria has already been harvested for this year as we're getting into the fall season. And that is wonderful for those soothing, calming properties. So, of course, what we know lavender to be great for bedtime, diffusing at bedtime. It's a great skin soother. So I love it for facial care, which we're at the end of class, we're going to be making a couple recipes using lavender. And one of them is a facial serum. One of my favorite uses for lavender is skin soothing properties. So great for facial care, for all over body care. And it's also great for massage because you're looking for that relaxation massage to really soothe your mind and body at the same time. Lavender is perfect for that. You can use lavender in your cleaning as well because it has some great properties for that. But we'll talk about a couple other lavenders that we'll move on to. And so you can see the other great properties. But I also love lavender in my bath if I just want a relaxing bath. Just really a ton of uses when it comes to the true lavender. But let's move on to spike lavender now. So spike lavender, it sounds more intense, and it actually is. So spike lavender is native to Spain. So we're still in Europe for growing lavender production, but we've moved a little bit west and south. So that produces quite a bit different lavender. This is kind of the opposite when it comes to lavender. The true lavender and the spike lavender are really on opposite ends of the spectrum. Spike lavender, first of all, grows 6 feet tall. It is super, super tall. And we talked about lavender, the lavandula angustifolia is just this tiny little bush. You can grow it in a pot. You see lots of people grow it in little flower beds and pots. Spike lavender is quite large. So it's very intense and it smells intense. So it's almost like if lavender and eucalyptus had a baby. They didn't. It's not a hybrid of those. It's its own thing, but it really has that eucalyptus-like aroma with the camphor and the cineol content. The cineol is also known as eucalyptol. So that those two constituents are very familiar in aroma to people for that have smelled eucalyptus, especially, in your steam rooms at the gym or in chest rubs, those conventional chest rubs. It's that camphorous herbal menthol aroma. So it's like a little bit of lavender, but it's very camphorous, really. It smells a lot like eucalyptus to me when I smell it. And so the great thing about spike lavender is you can use it in very similar ways to eucalyptus. Maybe you don't love eucalyptus and you want a little bit more of that soothing benefit of lavender. This is a great one to use. So you can make those chest rubs just using coconut oil and spike lavender. If you're kind of feeling a little bit under the weather, maybe taking a nice shower steam or bath and adding spike lavender to that. It's really great for respiratory support. And so lots of uses when it comes to our breath, but also cleaning properties. So really great cleaner. I love to use spike lavender in when I'm making my own products, like half vinegar, half water, and then I add a little bit of spike lavender, and I have an all-purpose cleaner. I also just love to add it to like a quick clean, like sink drains, into the toilet, and even the dispenser. That really helps to just freshen the space in a pinch. And you really get that refreshing aroma with the camphor properties. So if you really love the camphorous aroma and maybe just a little bit of that lavender, that soothing linalool and that floral aroma, you're going to love spike lavender. But you want to be watchful on which one you're getting because again, those two are very different. So spike lavender's botanical name is Lavandula latifolia. So if you want to write that down, so angustifolia, and we have latifolia. And then the in between of these two actually did have a baby, and we call it lavandin. So lavandin is Lavandula intermedia. You usually see a little X, so it'll say Lavandula X intermedia. And the X actually indicates a hybrid. So that is when you're looking on botanical names and you see a little X, that means it is a hybrid. We are very transparent when it comes to all of our botanical names and whether it's a hybrid or not. We actually do have one other popular hybrid aroma or essential oil that we sell. Does anybody know what that is? See how much of an expert we have. This might be a difficult question if we don't have any of the major plant nerds, but I think all of you are a little bit if you join tonight. Anybody want to take a guess? Well, I'll actually give it to you. It's peppermint. So peppermint is actually a hybrid between um, spearmint and watermint. So it creates peppermint. But anyway, let's get back to lavender because that's what we're doing tonight. So lavandin is the hybrid between Lavandula angustifolia and the latifolia with the spike lavender. So it's really in between a lot of, or both of these properties. So you're going to have, it's about 3 to 4 feet tall. So it's kind of that larger bush that you see or larger shrub. Actually, when you look at pictures of lavender, I don't know if you've ever seen um, these beautiful fields of these large lavender looking bushes. Usually in France, they show just these beautiful large rows and rows of purple. That a lot of times is the lavandin plant. It's actually not the true lavender that you're seeing because it's a little bit larger. And lavandin is commonly grown in France. So that's where we get our Orocacia lavandin from. So again, the properties are going to be a little bit in between. So the great thing about that is if you want that calming property, but you also want a little bit of that camphorous property, it's great to choose lavandin. So lavandin, because it's that hybrid, it has, you know, a little bit of the camphor aroma. So it's great for chest rubs, baths, also muscles. That's one thing that I forgot to talk about. Camphor in the spike lavender as well as lavandin, great for deep tissue muscles. So if you're looking for a relaxing massage, get the true lavender. If you're looking for a tissue massage and you really want to get into those muscles, do the spike lavender or the lavandin. And that is the other recipe that we're making at the end of class. So you get to pick your favorite lavender that you would like for your specific muscle rub when you're making it. So lavandin, it does have those calming properties to the true lavender. So I love it for sort of a daily diffusion. If I'm looking for that calm, but I don't really want to, you know, if you're really sensitive to lavender and it kind of makes you really sleepy, you maybe don't want to diffuse that during the day while you're trying to get some work done, but you still want that peace that you get from lavender. So lavandin is great for that. Um, Lavandin also great for cleaning. So it has that camphor property, the cineal property that really helps with cleaning and refreshing your space. I love it for room sprays. So again, diffusion or making a spray throughout your house. It just really has, you know, a little bit of both of the benefits of both spike lavender and lavandin on both ends of the spectrum. So has anybody used any other varieties or species of lavender, or which one is your favorite if you want to share in the chat, and maybe what you love to use lavender for. So go ahead and share that. But we kind of covered all three of the different species. Now let's go ahead and start making our products. So the first one that we have is our muscle rub, and I'm going to pull that up. And if Summer wants to share that recipe in the chat, let's see here. Where did my recipes go? There they are. Okay, perfect. Oh, great. We have a spiked lavender lover. I love to hear that. See, I feel like the other lavenders don't get as much love usually, so I love to hear the other uses. And I hope that you all have learned a little bit more about the different lavenders, and maybe you want to try maybe French lavender because you want to try a little bit more intense of the regular lavender, and you didn't know that that was a difference between the Bulgarian, or maybe you're going to find a new one. So, yeah, great question. What is the difference between English and French lavender? So, English lavender is also considered that true lavender. So, it's the same species again. Lavandula angustifolia is that true lavender. It's also called English lavender. Um, so, I know it's grown in Bulgaria, but England is also a cooler climate and would grow lavender really well. And so that's why it has been known to be called English lavender. But the French lavender, again, has a little bit higher linalool content, and it creates a little bit of a stronger, sharper aroma, lavender aroma. So you have that beautiful floral aroma, but it just has a slightly sharper aroma. So if you want that intense lavender, you go for the French. Same species, grown in different regions. We actually used to sell a Tasmanian lavender, and Tasmanian lavender was grown in Tasmania. We have What they did was take some of the sweeter plants that they had. This again, it's the same species of Lavandula angustifolia, grown in Tasmania, and it was some of the sweetest lavender I've ever smelled. Unfortunately, we don't have that one anymore, but that was a favorite of mine for a while. All right, so let's go ahead and start our um, eucalyptus massage, or sorry, our lavender, peppermint, and eucalyptus massage oil. So we're going to start with our carrier oils, where we will need 1.5 ounces of sweet almond oil. So sweet almond oil is a great kind of all-purpose oil that is wonderful for most body care types, most skincare types, I would say. So it absorbs pretty easily into the skin, and it's very close to our natural skin oils. It helps provide that nourishing proteins from the almonds, and it's perfect for massage because it absorbs easily, but it still leaves a little for, massaging your skin, that glideability. So 1.5 ounces. We're just going to eyeball a little bit tonight for me, because I didn't pre-measure this out. But this is a 2-ounce container, so we're going to go about 3/4 of the way up. We also sell these 2-ounce containers on oracacia.com, so you can get a beautiful dark empty container. And the dark glass really helps to preserve essential oils. So you want to keep it in that dark glass. All right. And then we're going to use 1/2 ounce of grapeseed oil. So grapeseed oil is a little bit lighter than the sweet almond oil, and that will allow for a little bit deep tissue massage. Because if you have one that absorbs easier into the skin, you're going to be able to get deeper into that tissue without slipping and sliding off. And so if you're really looking for a deep tissue massage, you want to use more grapeseed and less sweet almond. So we'll fill that the rest of the way up. All right. So we have our carrier oils in here ready to go. We're just going to add 8 drops each of lavender, peppermint, and eucalyptus. So here is where peppermint has that beautiful menthol, that cooling and that tingly. And again, you're going to get something similar with that spike lavender. It has a little bit of that camphor, that cineol, that gives you that tingly feeling. The one thing that you do want to look out for on the market is that adulteration. So knowing that it is a little bit tingly, it can cause some irritation to people with sensitive skin. And so just, just for FYI, camphorous, that camphor property is a little bit of a skin irritant, or can be. So you want to be careful if you do have sensitive skin. But that is why it is really important to look for the right lavender when you're out on the market, because we see a lot of adulteration where it says that it's the true Lavandula angustifolia, but we're seeing that camphor property even when it's labeled as that. So it might either be labeled correctly, where it has, or sorry, it might be mislabeled. So we'll see that a lot as saying Lavandula officinalis. It just means that it's an official lavender plant, but you don't exactly know what you're getting, and probably getting the hybrid because you're getting, it's a little bit easier to grow the hybrid than the true lavender. So, and you'll notice those price differences, which you do want to see, but that's just a little bit of what to look for when it comes to adulteration. You want to make sure that companies test their oils, and that's one thing that Oricacia does, is we test every single essential oil to make sure it's exactly what we expect. So there shouldn't be any lavender, or there should not be any camphor in our true lavender. So if you're not looking for that, because camphor is also stimulating, it can really be awakening and can kind of make you wake up a little bit more, which if you're using it for bedtime, you don't want that either. So that's why you need to know which lavender you're using. But if you do want that awakening, spike lavender is great for that. So pick your favorite lavender for this. Maybe I'll actually add 4 drops of each of the spike lavender and the true lavender, because I love a little bit of both. All right, so my lavender is in there. And then we're gonna add 8 drops each of peppermint and eucalyptus. So I have my peppermint, which is that cooling, that's really gonna be soothing for muscles as well. And we are adding 8 drops of eucalyptus. Eucalyptus, again, has that cineol property, that eucalyptol. It does also have that camphor. So that really helps to boost your spike lavender. If you really love spike lavender and just really want to boost it, add your eucalyptus with that. So it's as easy as that. You just made a muscle rub. So, or it's great for a massage oil or a muscle rub, depending on what you're using it for. But this is just kind of an all over massage. You can use it for after the gym, for like a nightly foot massage, or even wherever you're feeling a little tense or sore. It's nice to have a little support with that. So that is our massage oil. Now we're going to move on to our facial serum. So if we add, oh, there we go. Summer added that to the chat. Perfect. So the links are there. You can go ahead and pull those up. And then all the links are for adding it to your cart if you want to purchase it. Or it's great to also support your local store. We're at co-ops, we're at Whole Foods and Sprouts and Fresh Time. So wherever your favorite one is. So now we're making a facial serum, and it only takes 2 ingredients. Who knew that it would be so simple? I actually just got a facial this last weekend, and I am proud to say that my the person that did the facial, she was she said my pores looked great. She was disappointed in not being able to extract anything from my face. But she said, good for you for having very clean pores. And I really attribute that to using all of our skincare oil. So if you have not used a lot of oil on your face, if you've been, you know, at least in my generation, we grew up kind of knowing or thinking that oil was bad. And so we did everything to make sure not to have an oily face. So we did all the toners and the cleansers and just dried out our face like crazy. But I used to deal with quite a bit of acne. And then once I started with Orocacia and learning more about skincare oils and using them, I just really have not had issues after, it takes your skin a little bit of time to adjust, but since then, I just love our skincare oils. So rosehip is one of them. Argan oil is another favorite. But all you do is take the 1 ounce rosehip oil. Rosehip oil comes again from the rose fruits or the rose hip. And the oil is extracted for that. It has a lot of antioxidant properties, and it's very skin rejuvenating, especially for damaged skin. So if you have any like scarring and things, it can really do a lot of great things. So lavender, again, very skin soothing. Actually, the history of lavender, as we get into that, historically, essential oils have been used for thousands and thousands of years, but modern aromatherapy and modern use of essential oils kind of started in the early 1900s. There was a French chemist, and that's why we kind of consider, that French lavender to be a beautiful lavender, because a lot of modern aromatherapy came from France. There was a French chemist, his name was Gattefossé. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly or not, but he really discovered a lot of these beautiful benefits of lavender. He was working in his lab with a lot of different chemicals. He actually did burn himself with other chemicals, and then wanted to experiment using lavender oil that he had distilled. And it really helped to soothe his burn and help heal his skin. And so that is kind of where the start of coining the term aromatherapy came from him. And that is why kind of we had a resurgence of essential oils and aromatherapy, and why we have these why we exist today in Orocacia. So we have him to thank. And that is why we have learned about a lot of great soothing, especially skin soothing properties in lavender. So rosehip and lavender together are just a beautiful companion partnership. And so we're just going to add 12 drops. A little goes a long way with essential oils. So you really don't need to use a ton of drops. All right. And into that 1 ounce, that's actually a 2% dilution when we're diluting essential oils, which essential oils are very concentrated, and you want to be diluting them into a skincare oil or making a room spray, because that helps to make it a little bit safer because they are so concentrated. And if anybody wants to take a guess at how many drops are in our 1/2 ounce bottles, go ahead and guess. And then you'll know how many beautiful products you can make, or how many times you can use this essential oil bottle. 300 drops. Wow, that is pretty on par with it is about 300. It can vary a little bit between, maybe 280 to 350, but it's right around that 300 range. So great job. You guys are just getting all of my questions. So I love it. But yeah, 2 ingredients. You shake it up. You want to make sure it's thoroughly mixed together. And then I just love this as a evening um, serum for my face. So it's nice to put it in your hands a little bit, breathe in that beautiful lavender, and then put it all over your face and your neck, and your hands. And then you're just ready for bed and you'll just wake up glowing every morning. So um, I hope you start that routine for yourself. We love a little self care. We love to promote that here. And I hope you learned a little bit more about lavender and maybe found a new favorite to try or experiment a little bit with the different species of lavender. And now you know what to look for the botanical names, and look for the testing of the oils and a little bit of those chemicals, that you learned the differences. So thank you so much for joining tonight. Um, we have the next class coming up October 24th. So October 24th, we're getting into Halloween. So that is it's again a free class all on Halloween recipes. Sorry, I'm seeing some of the class or the um, questions come in. Thank you so much. So, okay, that's a great question. Can you explain how long essential oils last? So, yes, when it comes to essential oils, um, there is with those chemicals, it is top, middle, and base notes. If you've heard of a perfume or making different essential oils, they're kind of categorized into top, middle, and base notes. So just a quick breakdown on that. Top notes, they evaporate very quickly. And those are typically the citruses and the mints. Those are the very refreshing ones. So they can expire a little bit more quickly. Now, they don't really expire, they don't really oxidize as easily as like a skincare oil does. Um, but essential oils most likely just evaporate into the air because that's what they are. They're kind of aromatic. They're closer to a gas than a liquid. So if you actually just left this bottle open, it would just disappear before it really goes bad, technically. But over time, the aroma might start to smell less sweet, and some of those top notes, on like a lavender or even a heavier oil, might it just changes the property a little bit and the aroma. So long story short, we really recommend overall about 2 years. So that 1 to 2 year range. Then you want to, definitely a smell test is a great indicator. If it starts to smell a little bit different, then you want to refresh your oils. Some say like patchouli and vetiver and some of those really heavy oils, they change over time. And some people say that they get better with age, just like a fine wine. But again, it's all kind of up to you and your aroma. But generally, we say essential oils typically have a 2 year shelf life. Okay, so Bulgarian lavender. Yeah. Okay, so sorry, I'm reading and looking through. Yes, so lavender for anti-moth in your closets. That is a wonderful use for it. So, essential oils, I love to say the reason why they exist in nature is that they help to protect the plants and they try to keep the bugs away. So a lot of essential oils have those properties to kind of keep those pesky things away. So that is why we can do a lot of things with that. So Thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed this class and take care. And we'll see you in October. By the way, we also have for if you want to purchase any of your lavenders and try them all out, we have a special promo code. It is AC2590, AC2590. And that'll get you, I believe, 20 or 25% off in on oracacia.com. So go ahead and use that. And thank you so much. And we'll see you next month.